Welcome back to Fashion Shirt. Well, it turns out that sometimes Monaco can deliver. What a crazy race, really unexpected finish. Not a whole lot of overtaking, but definitely a lot of drama and definitely a lot of changes through position, through some very unique strategy calls. So I started with Versure on pole and Victor Martin's P2. Most drivers were starting on the soft. Behrman was the first to start on the super soft, so a lot of drivers starting on the harder of the two compounds. Martin's terrible start again, very similar to what happened in Imola, and he falls to outside the top 10, and by the end of that first lap he was in P14. Then we had a bit of contact at the hairpin. Adams lost some positions and ended up in the wall, and that turned out to be Jack Crawford, who was out of the race. Antonelli, really good start up to P5. Behrman as well, up to P7 from outside of the top 10, I believe. And for Crawford, he was hit by Miney, but it seems like he was able to either get to an escape road or get back to the pits, as there was no safety car required there. Lap 4, Stanek was reporting that Antonelli was dropping dry ice onto the track. Now, not really sure what is in the regulations regarding this. It could be a post-race penalty. I don't know, maybe a disqualification, we'll see. Again, because dry ice is one of those things where it kind of spontaneously evaporates, I think it would be very hard to prove after the fact, but we'll see what happens afterwards. Lap 5, no further action for the Crawford Miney, despite the fact that it led to Crawford's DNF. It was very minor, just happened to lead to Crawford damaging his suspension. Lap 8, Cordial going very slow, and he pitted and retired the car. Lap 11, Marty pits, comes out last in P20. Lap 14, Antonelli putting a lot of pressure on Colapinto. He's honestly going to be seeing nightmares of Colapinto's rear wing in his sleep tonight, given how much he saw him today. And then Colapinto cuts the Nouvelle chicane. Antonelli definitely not very happy with that. Lap 15, Maloney undercut by Marty in the pit lane. Lap 17, Behrman pits, exits in 17th, and a bit of a gap there. Lap 19, 13-second gap to Miata in front. So Miata was the last driver in the field who had not pitted yet. So basically that 13-second gap means that there's a lot of space there for fresh air for Behrman to potentially undercut drivers ahead. Lap 19, Versure starts running into car issues, comes on the radio saying things not working. He cuts the Nouvelle chicane. Issue seems to solve itself, but it's something that we'll get back to. Lap 20, Bill Gomez, broken front wing in sector 3. Looks like he just clipped the barrier at Rascasse, comes in, pits right away. Versure, coming over on a meltdown on the radio, talking about how this is basically his career in a nutshell. Lap 21, Stanek, first driver onto the soft tires to pit, comes out in 19th. Lap 22, Aaron and Antonelli pit. Antonelli comes out in front of Behrman, and you get this crazy fight between the two of them, all the way from turn 1 up to Mirabeau. Then Antonelli makes a bit of a mistake, goes a bit too deep at Mirabeau, and Behrman passes him at the hairpin. Antonelli basically not able to turn the car on those fresh, cold tires. Lap 24, Versure keeps his lead after pitting. Hadjar putting pressure on Versure as well, and Hadjar's with his Versure's car issues seemed like they seemed to have solved themselves. But unfortunately for Versure, the issue really got worse from there. And what seemed to be the issue was that the car had a lot of issues upshifting. So basically, when you got to the highest speed sections of the track, basically from along the main straight going into Saint Devote and up to the Nouvelle chicane, he had a massive speed deficit to the other cars around. Everywhere else he was honestly fine. It was just in that one section where he had massive issues. But lap 25, Hadjar able to overtake Versure. We have an overtake on track. Yes, there's circumstances with it, but an overtake on track. Hadjar takes the lead, and it seems like Versure's car issues are getting worse. Aaron then overtakes Versure as he cuts, or both of them cut the Nouvelle chicane there, and then Aaron overtakes Versure at turn 1 the following lap to get P2. Behrman, the next lap, tries to overtake Versure at Tabac. Luckily for him, he pulls out of that. We saw a crash in the F3 race where someone tried to do that, so definitely not something I don't recommend unless you're driving a Formula E car. Let's see, where are we? Then Behrman gets past turn 1, Colapinto gets past turn 2, Lap 27, Antonelli and Bortoleto both get past Versure in the tunnel, and just to make matters even worse, when it rains, it pours for Versure. He gets a 5-second penalty for cutting the chicane earlier in the race. Lap 29, Versure pits, comes out last, asked to retire the car, and that was basically because he had the 5-second penalty. He didn't want to convert it into a grid penalty for the next race, so basically he just pitted, served the penalty, and then did one more lap and retired the car. So really unfortunate for Versure. Almost probably would have won the race without that, but given how things ended up in the end, can't say that for sure. Lap 32, Correa causing a train, and I honestly thought he hadn't pitted yet, but it turns out he had. And basically, what seemed to happen was basically the drivers who stayed out longer on the soft tires, the harder tires, suddenly it seemed like they were able to pit and not be like right at the back. They were actually being able to pit and come back out in points paying position. So for Correa, he basically pitted into the gap caused by Colapinto. Colapinto was much slower than everyone else on track today, and he was causing massive trains both before the pit stops and after the pit stops. Hauger pits, he was leading, and he comes out a virtual P5. Lap 34, Behrman under pressure from Correa on those new soft tires, cuts Nouvelle chicane, maybe get a 5-second penalty. As of recording this video, nothing yet, but possibly something after the race. Lap 38, Antonelli somehow passes Colapinto at Antonino's. That was an absolutely crazy move. Colapinto a bit deep going through Rascasse and Antonino's, and Antonelli just basically sends it and says, either we're both going into the wall or you let me pass. And Colapinto smartly decided to let him pass. So very, very ruthless move from Antonelli there. Bortoleto and Maloney both get passed in that sector, going up to the checkered flag. So yeah, Colapinto sinking like a stone at this point. Lap 39, Fittipaldi and Barnard made contact at Rascasse. No big deal. I think no punctures or anything, but yeah, it was definitely a moment there. Lap 40, Durskin contact with the wall, and yeah. Oh yeah, what I thought happened was he made contact with the wall. What actually happened was he basically hit Maloney. So for Durskin, basically coming out of the pits, cuts right across to the racing line, which is basically on the outside of turn 1, and just goes right into Maloney. Didn't see him coming. Not the smartest move there. I expect he'll get a grid penalty for the next race. Luckily for Maloney, he goes airborne, but stays right side up and doesn't lose any positions, it seems. So yeah, a bit lucky for him, and Durskin would retire the car. No surprise there. Let's see, yeah. O'Sullivan pits, and because Durskin's car stopped basically hitting Maloney, his car is stopped at Casino, and this brings out the virtual safety car. But of course, under Formula 2 rules, you're not allowed to pit under a virtual safety car. So O'Sullivan basically, with seconds to spare before the virtual safety car comes out, he pits. So he was basically at the perfect location of track so that he was able to pit right away before that virtual safety car was called. Virtual safety car comes out, and he basically comes out of the pits into the lead of the race. Yeah, absolutely crazy moment. Really, unpredictable event, low probability event happening, but it turns out that O'Sullivan is now in the lead of the race. Yeah, lap 42, Hadjar is having a meltdown on the radio. We've heard his radio rants before in previous races, and he's just having an absolute meltdown, gesticulating in the car, all sorts of things on that final lap. Yeah, basically nothing happens. And O'Sullivan takes the checkered flag and wins his first Formula 2 race on the streets of Monaco, the Monaco Feature Race, from 15th on the grid. Maybe it gives us some hope for the F1 race later today. I don't expect that to happen, especially for Charles Leclerc's sake. But yeah, a really, really good F2 race. Definitely a bit of a surprise that we had the race that we got. But you know what? Sometimes that happens. So, result, O'Sullivan first F2 win. Hadjar and Aaron joining him on the podium. Behrman 4th. Correa 5th, Hauger 6th, Antonelli 7th, Bortoleto 8th, Marti 9th, Maloney 10th, Barnard 11th, Fittipaldi 12th, Colapinto 13th, 14th is St. Martin's, or no, who is that going to be? It might be Marti, yeah, it might be Marti there. 15th, Miata, 16th, Stanek, 17th, Miney, and your 5 retirements are Durskin, Versure, Villagomez, Cordial, and Crawford. Taking a look at your championship standings, we now have a new championship leader. Paul Aaron, the rookie, now leads the championship with 80 points, 2 clear of Hadjar, who's second on 78. Maloney is drops to third, 69 points. Fourth is Hadra, 56. Fifth is Bortolotto, 56 is Antonelli, 48. Seventh is Sullivan, 40. Eighth is Colapinto, 38. Ninth is Miney, 34. 10th is Fittipaldi, 32. 11th Crawford, 32. 12th Marti, 26. 13th Berman, 18. Finally gets off the bottom of that pile there. 14th for sure, 17. 15th Miata, 16. 16th Durskin with 15. Level on points with Cordelan, 18th. And 17th. 18th is Correa with 14. 19th is Stanek with 13. 20th is Martins with 11, and 21st is Barnard with 10, and 22nd and last is Villagomez with 8 points. So really good race. Honestly, championship really has been very unpredictable, and honestly for drivers like Behrman and Martins and even Antonelli to an extent, given the steep learning curve we knew he would have in this first part of the season, kind of lucky, a bit fortunate I guess, a bit lucky in a way, that despite the fact that none of those three are really anywhere near the lead numerically, because it's been so close, because so many drivers have been so fighting for wins and podiums, it means that no one's really run away with it yet. So while, for example, for Antonelli, 32-point gap, that's definitely doable. For Behrman, let's see, we're looking at a 62-point gap, probably not doable, but never say never in Formula 2. So anyway, there you go. There's my review of the Formula 2 feature race for Monaco. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.